Good morning. So today we are going to be building off of what we learned yesterday with our swine identification. If you remember, we said that we identify swine for many reasons. One being so we can keep track of genetics, breeding, like the sires, the dams. Also, so we can have our individual piglets and know maybe which one needs this medicine, which one there's exactly something wrong with it. There's all different reasons why we identify pigs. And we are learning the notch method. So yesterday we went and we learned the values, which ear meant what, but we're gonna go back over that before we actually start practicing our notches. So if we remember correctly, our ears are split up into 4 quadrants, like I'm drawing on the board. Each quadrant has its own value. So this ear right here, looking at the board, it would be the left ear. But when you're looking behind the pig, how you should actually read the notches, this is the right ear, which stands for our litter. So say if you have 20 sows in a barn, if it was sow number 5, you would notch 5. Then our right ear, technically our left, is the individual, so each piglet. So going through the ears, we're going to start with our litter. Each one has its own value, so starting at the bottom closest to the pig's head, we have a 1. Going on up, we have a 3. For the litter, you actually can notch the tip of the ear, so just the tip, and that's an 81. So going on past the 3, we have 9 and 27. So these are all multiples of 3. Swapping to our individual ear, we're doing the same number. So we start at the bottom with 1, go up to 3, and then we have 9. So we don't do 27 because typically there's not going to be 27 piglets in a litter. It's going to stay around 12. So that's what all these mean. And if you also remember, we can only have 2 notches in each section. So 2 notches. That's because if I put 3 notches in one, it wouldn't really make sense if I could have put 1 in the 3. And this way it keeps from having too many notches, ears ripping, other things like that. So, here we have our ear notchers. You can see they're like the little triangle cutout. You are not going to put that whole thing on a piglet's ear because piglet's ears are very tiny and you don't want, like I said, with the multiple, you don't want them ripping, cutting, going into other sections. So before we practice on our pig, we're going to practice down here at the bottom. So let's say I have litter number 10, piglet number 5. So our closest number to 10 is our 9. So I'm going to notch a 9. 9 minus 10 is 1. So I'm going to put a notch here. 9 plus 1 equals 10. Looking at our 5. Can I do 2 3s? No, because that's 6. 9 is too big, so I'm going to do 1 3. And then I have 2 more. So I'm going to have to do 2 1s. Just like that. And it's keeping that little invisible line right there. So this is piglet 10 5, even if you read it from the back. Okay, so we're going to practice doing 2 more sets of notches on the board before we move to on our actual pigs, and then we will read a couple of already notched. So looking at our next one, we have 13, 10. We need to start with our litter number. So does 9 go into 13? Yes. So 1 in that top section. How many do I need? So I have 9, I need 13. What's 9 plus 3? 9 plus 3 equals 12. So 1 there, and I'm missing 1 more, so I need a 1. So I'm going to come fill in the 1 section. So 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 1 equals 13. Then our 10, just like how we did on our litter number on our first set, we're going to need a 9 and a 1. So 9 and 1. None of them touch, none of them interact. So let's erase these. we're going to do 8113. So remember, 81, we have that one notch right there at the tip of the ear. So I'm going to notch that there, and 13. So we just did a 13 on the other side, we're just going to mirror it. So 9 plus 3 plus 1 equals 13. So they're really easy to read once you have down your place values. So, looking at this set, so this is our litter number, this is our pig number. So we're going to read it. I have a 3 and a 1. So litter number 4, and then on this side I have a 3. So we are pig 4, 3. Litter number 4, piglet number 3. Looking at this pig's ear notches, we have an 81, we have a 3 and a 1. So 84, 85. On this side, we have a 9 and a 3. So that's 12. So we have 85, 12. Looking at this pig, we have an 81 and a 1, 82. Then we have a 9 and a 1, so 10. So this is pig 82, 10. Okay, moving into actually notching our pigs. So we have our pigs here, and we have our ear notchers. So if you take a look at the ear notchers, you can see it's a triangle, basically like a hole puncher, but for our pig's ears. So let's take this practice one just to look at first. So if I take my notcher and I pull it all the way through, that's halfway through the ear. So if I'm at the one, that's halfway through the ear. If I was to do one here and then one above, that would cut the whole tip of the ear off. So we want to make sure we put it barely on there and just get that little piece. So this does not hurt the actual pig, because this happens when they're like 2 to 3 days old usually, and nothing happens to the pig. They might squeal, but that's more from you holding them. So looking at our pig, we have our litter number, our individual number. All right, so on our first pig, we are going to notch 82.6. So if we're looking at our litter ear, we're going to need an 81. So the tip of our ear, a little bit of our notcher in there, 81. So if I did an 81 and I want 82, I'm going to need to do a 1. So down here, closest to the head, let me notch out a 1. These notchers aren't wanting to work with me today. So an 82. Now swapping over to my individual ear, I want 6, so I'm going to do 2 3s. So 1, 2. So I have 6. So now I have pig number 81, 6. Alrighty, so on our second pig, we're going to do 30, 10. Since this one already has 30 punch, so we did a 27 and a 3. Then I want a 10, so I'm going to come up on the top. I'll punch me out a 9, then come over to the bottom and get a 1. So I have 30, 10 on this piglet. So in the real class setting, after demonstrating how to properly space the numbers in the quadrants, that only 2 notches can be done in each quadrant, that our litter number has the 81, shown it after they practice on paper, the different notches, we'd go over it on the board. My kids would have normal worksheets they do with it. Then I would demonstrate on the actual piglet, or I also have a bigger, it's just like the head piece of a pig with the bigger ears so they can see it. I usually will, each group will get their own piglet, usually groups of 4. They will have to come up with their own litter and individual piglet number. They will have to run those numbers by me, and then as a group, they get to notch the ears. So they do that, and then I come by and check them. They demonstrate it to me, and then after each group usually notches it, we lay these out throughout the classroom, and they have to get a piece of paper. So each group doesn't know the other group's paper. They will go through and read. They'd write it down, read the notches, write down to turn in as their ticket out the door after they notched it. So once they turn it in, I usually wrap up with a recap of going back through our pig. So this is how I would do my recap for my demonstration. So we'd go back over our notchers. Do we notch all the way through on the pig's ear? No, because you can end up cutting off the pig's ear, hitting blood vessels, anything like that. So, going through, we only notch 2 in each section, or can we do 3? Hopefully, they say 2. We've gone over it a couple days, they know this. Then we go back through and we read each of our quadrants. So, we have our litter number. Starting at the bottom, we have 1, 3, 81, 9, 27. Swapping to our individual pig, we have our 1, our 3, our 9. Do we have a 27 or an 81? No, because hopefully the sow is not having more than about 12 piglets to her litter. If she's having more, odds are some will have to go to a foster sow or other things like that. But after that, I make the kids clean up all our ears. We save these for the next year, and we take our piglets and put them back into their case set. So, then wrapping up, cleaned up, sending them out the door with ticket out the door. Recap our essential questions. So, why do we need to be able to identify pigs? That is so we can tell who's sick, who needs to go where, who's already had something done to them. And our last one, can we properly identify and notch pigs? Hopefully by the time the kids leave this unit in my class, they can properly read and ear notch our fake piglets.